Hi there, all my safety friends. Today I have a little something special, a little something different that I've put together. I've actually taken 5 of my top videos and put them together in one long video for your viewing pleasure. Enjoy these topics: who is the safety coordinator, the at-risk behaviors, being sharp for safety, the first week as a safety coordinator, and how to deal with skeptics. These are 5 of my, like I said, of my top videos that I put together into one. Take the opportunity to enjoy these, skip around to your favorite parts. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. Take care and stay safe out there. Welcome to another note from the safety desk. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe. I want to take just a moment to talk about what it is to be a safety coordinator. I've had a lot of people ask me lately, recently, what is it to be a safety coordinator for a company? They were looking to hire somebody to be a safety coordinator, and what does it take to fill that role? Or who is the safety coordinator? What type of person would be a good safety coordinator for a company? Well, a safety coordinator should be a person who is, I'm gonna say, a mentor in a way to other people, serve as a role model, an educator, and even a promoter of safety awareness. He or she should always have the ability to assist in the development of activities from a safety aspect and provide support in running such activities. It is important to remember, though, that the safety coordinator is not the field police. That is not what a safety coordinator does, but rather the person that displays a positive attitude and willingness to teach others in all sorts of regards to safety. So I mentioned a role model. An important attribute for a role model is someone who has leadership skills. The safety coordinator should be someone that is knowledgeable about the line of work that they're in, what it takes to do that work, maintains high standards, and displays a positive attitude when dealing with safety issues. If you lead, they will follow. You know, we've heard that before. Kevin Costner was in a movie, Field of Dreams, and that's one thing that they mentioned in there. If you build it, they will come. Well, if you lead, they will follow. This statement pretty well sums up the safety coordinator, that effect that they can have on the employees. A good leader with a positive attitude who knows the ins and outs of the organization rules, someone who will assist in employees gaining trust and respect for the safety coordinator. In turn, the employee will have let's say, an encouraging resource to turn with any safety issues or concerns that he or she may have. I talked about being an educator. Education. That's, just can't say enough about it. Many accidents and injuries, as you well know, can be avoided if only pilots were more educated in the aspect of safety. Start by looking at a person's interpersonal and communication skills. A safety coordinator that can work well and communicate effectively with others, with the staff and employees, they're naturally just going to be more effective in teaching safety than a person who is not really efficient in these areas. The safety coordinator should work with employees in developing an ongoing educational plan for the department or for the company itself, offering quarterly safety meetings. Myself, I do monthly safety meetings with my teams, special safety classes for newcomers, that's your onboarding processes, and any additional preventative measures the company actually finds necessary. Would be that's going to be an important step in creating an effective educational program. The safety coordinator would play a leading role in that development and in the implementation, if you will, of all the safety education programs. And two, having the skills to educate would be a benefit, for the organization. We actually said that in the beginning. And then a good promoter. Promotion of safety within the organization within the organization is a must, and the organization will want to look for a good promoter. An ideal candidate for the safety coordinator, for example, must be it can be a salesman or a marketing major. Salesmen promote their product that they're selling. A safety coordinator has to do the same thing. You have to promote safety. A marketing professional would have the knack for promotion as the professional that would require these such skills. This is not to say someone without a background in sales or promotion could effectively be a good safety coordinator. However, I believe someone with this type of background really would be a bonus to the coordinator's position. Effective safety promotion will encourage employees to become more aware of their surroundings in the office and in the field, where they're working. So just kind of give you some final thoughts on it. When choosing a safety coordinator for a company, you should find a person who will appreciate the importance of creating an atmosphere of safety in and around the entire company. Yes, the safety coordinator will be responsible for promoting safety first and foremost, without fail. However, this person should not be considered a police. But this person should be a promoter. This person should be an educator. Good judgment and communication skills are important for the safety coordinator. The safety coordinator will have to, will not make the final decisions on safety concerns as normal. These would be left decided by upper management. Maybe it's a staff leader, maybe it's a superintendent, a supervisor that makes those final decisions when something goes awry and somebody's injured on it. Was it preventable? Was it non-preventable? Or what is the disciplinary action, I should say? That's something that they would do. Again, the safety coordinator is not the police. A safety coordinator who has the skills, we've talked about, and somebody that does diligent follow-up on safety issues, concerns, someone that will increase safety throughout the company, all while strengthening our lives. And I would say finally, that again, safety comes first and foremost. It needs to in everything that we do. I talked about in another video about being sharp for safety, and real quickly, what does being sharp mean? Well, if you break that down, SHARP, and safety is first. Safety has to be first. H, hazards can be limited. We can do that. A, awareness is key. Driving that awareness, having those safety meetings, having those tailgate sessions. R, responsibility is mine. Responsibility is yours. It's my responsibility to make sure that I do the right thing to help me, to help you. And last, participation is a must. That's where the P is. P stands for participation. We all have to participate in a good safety program from top to bottom, from bottom to top, both ways. So when you're talking about having what it is to be a good safety coordinator, again, it's that role model for the company. It's that person that is a good role model, is a good educator, and a promoter of safety overall. Again, this is Tim Heath with another note from the Safety Desk. Have a good day. Have a safe day. Hi there, all my YouTube friends. I'm Tim Heath with Joco Safety Solutions. Today, another note from the Safety Desk. We're going to be talking about at-risk behaviors. Let's get this party started. Hello, all you YouTube fans. It's time to get into another note from the safety desk from Tim Heath and Joko Safety Solutions. Today, I want to talk about real quickly is about at-risk behaviors. Let's talk about at-risk behaviors. What are at-risk behaviors? At-risk behaviors are those behaviors with a low probability of injury that most often do not result in injury, but occasionally do, or at least have the potential to. Another part of the definition is those risks that you take day in and day out that puts you or someone else at a risk of being injured. So why do employees engage in at-risk behaviors? Well, a lot of times they do it just to get the job done a little faster than normal. Maybe their perception is the risk is low or nothing is going to happen to me attitude. We've all seen that. Or a lack of awareness that the behavior actually is risky. So, it is the responsibility really of each person that's working in today's industry or any time really to guard against accidents of all types. Would you agree that all accidents are preventable? Yeah, all accidents are preventable. We either done something that we should have not done, or we did not do something that we should have done that had created that accident or potentially that injury. Most accidents are really caused by human error rather than any machines or tools. While some of it is, there are some that's just generally human error. An employee can control those errors. Human errors generally fall into two categories. Maybe it was an unsafe act or maybe it's an unsafe condition. So what is an unsafe act? An unsafe act is defined in any change from the recognized safe way of doing a job that may cause or contribute to the accident itself. Any action or inaction that increases the chance of the accident is an unsafe practice. Using unsafe or defective equipment. Let me give you another example. If I have a shovel that has a broken handle, it has a cracked handle, and I'm using that shovel with that cracked handle, I know it's cracked, but I'm going to use it anyway. Is that not an unsafe act? Yeah, sure it is. So what is an unsafe condition? An unsafe condition is defined as any condition of tools, equipment, machinery, structures, or other elements of the work environment that may cause or contribute to the accident itself. Let's go back to the shovel again. The shovel has a cracked handle. Is the shovel itself in an unsafe condition? Yeah, sure it is. That's the unsafe condition. The unsafe act would be me personally using it, and I know that it's cracked. So I can actually get hurt from that and knowing that it's cracked or it's broke, whatever the result is. If I'm riding down the road in a car and I make a choice not to wear my seatbelt and I'm involved in an accident, what is the unsafe condition? Well, part of that unsafe condition is me, the failure on myself to put on the seatbelt. That's the unsafe condition. The unsafe act is me driving down the road knowing that I don't have my seatbelt on. Okay? So, when you look at the safety pyramid, you generally have, let's just say, out of 300,000 at-risk behaviors. But remember now, those actions that you or someone else did that could cause me or someone to become injured. Let's say we got 300,000 of them. Out of that 300,000, you're going to have about 3,000 actual near misses out of that. Then you may have one step further, looking at that pyramid again, 300 recordable injuries out of that 3,000 near misses. So out of that 300 recordable injuries, we may end up with 30 lost workday cases. Out of 30 lost workday cases, looking at the tip of that pyramid, there's the potential there for one fatality, to lose one person as a result of it. So let's go back to those at-risk behaviors. Let's look at what we're doing. Let's look at that behavioral aspect of staying safe. And let's stop them. Let's go to them and say, we're not going to do this any longer. And let's stop those at-risk behaviors and do it the safe way. Stay sharp for safety. Have a good day. Another note from the safety desk. It's a beautiful day out here on the water, on the Intercoastal Waterway, eastern North Carolina, early to mid-November right now. I want to talk to you really about something a lot of people have asked me about. And that's a little something that I came up with a number of years ago. What is it to be sharp for safety? What is it to be sharp for safety? Throughout industry, people have tried to come up with little slogans and different things to, make a difference in their safety programs. I'm getting ready to retire now, working for a municipality for the last 16 years and just having a great career. And we have done a number of things to reduce work comp accidents, injuries in the workplace. Particular department that I work with is public utilities. A lot of people call it public works. But one thing I came up with years ago that helped out was being sharp for safety. Tim, what is it to be sharp for safety? Well, let's break it down. And SHARP, sharp. One day years ago, I was looking up at a clock up in my office, and it was made by a manufacturer, and it was actually said sharp on the clock. It's like an old schoolhouse clock in my office. And it was getting late in the afternoon, and I was trying to come up with something that would really, that the employees could remember, that would help drive the overall, if you will, to help them remember just as to what it is to be sharp for safety. What is it that can help me out? Just a little acronym, something. And then that's when I saw the word sharp. What does that mean? Well, let's break it down again, like I said. So what is it to be sharp for safety? Let's start with S. Safety is first. The S could be safety. Safety is first. Safety has to be first in everything that we do. We see it so much on the TV today. Everybody is talking about safety. Everybody's saying safety is priority number one. Safety is my goal. My goal is safety. I see these on bumper stickers. You hear it on advertisements. You see it on billboards. Everybody's talking about safety, from safety in car seats to safety in the food that we eat from the FDA or drugs that we take, really. And everything has something to do with safety. People are trying to promote it. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing. But what does it mean to be safety is first? Well, like I said, you've heard the acronym or the saying before, safety is priority number one. Take that and throw it out the window. Safety cannot be priority number one. Being the first priority and being safe, or safety is first, can't be in the same sentence with one another. Let me explain. You get up in the morning and you have to be at work at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever the case may be. And as you're going down the road, you're on the highway, and you're making your way there. What is your first priority? It's probably to get there on time, right? Yeah, I probably so. To get there on time, so you can clock in and start your day. Well, come about 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30 during the day, when that old backbone starts scratching that belly, what's your first priority at that time? Well, it's probably to put something in your stomach. It's probably time to go out and get lunch, okay? Whether it's a brown paper bag, you brought it in your Snoopy canteen, lunchbox, or if you're going out somewhere to a nice restaurant. Your first priority at that time is to get something to eat, get ready for the remainder of the day. And then come about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you're looking up at the clock and it's getting close to 4:30. What's your first priority? Well, I'm watching that clock now. It's time to go to the house. So think of it this way. You have children. Who has children? Do you have children? Let me ask that question. Little Susie, little Johnny's teacher calls you from school and says, you know, little Susie or little Johnny has fell down on the playground and, you know, we need you to come pick them up. Or they're sick or run a little bit of a fever. Need you to come pick them up. What's your first priority? Well, it's little Susie, little Johnny, whoever the case, and family first, right? Yeah, of course. So that's your first priority at that time. What I'm saying is this: being a priority, whatever's hottest at the time during your day, that's your first priority. Safety cannot be in that same mix. Safety has to go beyond that, because whatever's your first priority is what you're looking right then, right there. Okay? So safety has to go beyond that in the workplace. Think of it this way: safety needs to be a core value. So, Tim, what is a core value? What are the things that your parents, your loved ones, your aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever raised you coming up, what did they teach you about life? Whether it was politics, whether it was religion, whether it's what's good, what's bad, what's the right thing to do, whatever the case may be, they are your core values. And Tim can't stand up here today and change that for you, can I? No, I can't change that. Why? Because it's instilled into you. And that's a core value. That's where safety has to be in the workplace. If you want to drive that work comp down, when we drive that work comp down, workers' compensation, when we drive it down, we drive down that DART rate, days away, restricted transfer of duty. When we drive that down, that lowers our workers' comp overall compensation costs, right? Employees are happier. Employees are more enthused about, hey, going to work because the company that I work for takes it to heart about safety. It's built into them. It's a core value. So that's the S. Safety is first. It has to be first. H. Hazards can be limited. Hazards can be limited. How do we limit hazards? We do the training. We look to find those things that potentially can hurt me or you, or somebody that works with us. We learn how to properly install that trench box. We learn what it is, the true definition of permitted confined space entry. We learn what it is, what's a tripping hazard. We talk about construction all the time and the fatal four. What's the fatal four? Falls, electrocution, caught in or between, and struck by hazards. We learn those. We focus on those. Those are the hazards that we're dealing with. And once we learn those and learn what to look out for, we can limit those hazards in the workplace. So yes, hazards can be limited. S-H-A, awareness. Awareness. How do we drive awareness? Well, we drive awareness with them little 5-minute safety talks first thing in the morning. You go to your crew, we do the stretching, before we go out there during the day to get things started so we don't pull the muscles. Okay, that's another way of limiting that hazard, right? But we do our monthly training, whether it's on severe weather, whether it's on defensive driving. We talk about hazard communication and GHS, your global harmonized system. We talk about bloodborne pathogens and how we can limit these from becoming something that we really don't want in the workplace. SHA, awareness. So awareness is key. What's the R stand for? Responsibility. Whose responsibility is it? It's my responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's all of us' responsibility. I tell you, I talk to our employees so many times that we are, while we're out there on the job, we are our brother's keepers. And we really are. And what do I mean by that? It's my responsibility to look after you. It's your responsibility to look after me. And when we do that, we make things better for everybody. Iron sharpens iron. And that being said, we look after one another. We pep one another up. We talk to one another. We encourage one another. That's it, but it's all of us' responsibility to see that I go home safe in the afternoon, that you go home safe in the afternoon or in the morning, first thing, depending on, when you're working. SHAR. So what's the last? P. What could P stand for? Participation. We all have to participate in a good safety program, no matter what we're doing. We all need to encourage, like I said, one another, to look after one another, to attend all the safety meetings. There's no excuse for not attending a 5-minute safety meeting with your crew. There's no excuse for not evacuating a building if someone's performing a drill for evacuation or severe weather shelter. There's no excuse. We all have to participate. And while it may seem, sometimes like, I just ain't got time for this. No, we make time for this because that's how we come together at the end of the day and be sharp for safety. When top management, takes an interest in this and they are personally showing everybody else that we're going to do this, I'm going to do it with you, then can we make a real difference. But that's where it has to start. It don't need to start from the bottom and pushing up and saying, Tim, if they're management don't have time for this. I've heard that excuse so many times, and that's a crock, believe me, because it has to start from the top down. When the very top management says, we're going to be sharp for safety, we're going to drive this, and we're going to show our employees that we've got their backs in this, and that, yes, we're going to evacuate the building. Yes, we're going to go to those restrooms or whatever, or the rooms, the areas for severe weather, shelter when these drills are run. When they show you that, hey, I don't mind going out there, putting on my safety vest, my hard hat, and taking the opportunity to go to that 5-minute safety talk, even though it's just 5 minutes, and be there with you, then we can make a difference. Then we can make that change. Then we can be sharp for safety. That's where it's at. So I want to end it by saying this. We've all got that responsibility. We've all can do this. Like I said, we talk about safety all the time. How can you make a difference? How can you make a difference? What have you done today for safety? So I'm going to stop there. Think about it. And let's make a difference in our workplace. Have a good day. And another note from the safety desk. Take care. So you've landed that new job as safety coordinator. Now you want to look at, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Well, let's look at that first 90 days on the job. Where do we go? What do we do the first 90 days on the job as a brand new safety coordinator? It's not about the paperwork. It's not about the meetings. But because of what you do in that first few days, that very first week on the job, can mean whether or not someone goes home safe or not. Today, I'm going to walk with you through what you should focus on your very first week as that brand new safety coordinator. Let's look at the priorities of what should take place. Welcome, I'm Tim, and this is Joko Safety Solutions, where we really talk about what really matters in the workplace. Taking the opportunity to focus on those priorities and, like I said, do the things that need to be done so that people go home safe every day. Go home safe every day. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you're returning, great, thank you very much. But I've had a lot of questions about another video that I put out, which is, who is the safety coordinator? If you get the opportunity, go back and look at that one. That video sparked a lot of interest. A lot of people watched the video and have asked me a lot of different questions, a lot of great comments on the video. But one of the questions is, once I get the job, what do I do from that point? What do I do my first 90 days? So that's what we're going to dive into today. What do I do that first 90 days? Well, let's start with week one. We're going to start with week one and look at what our priorities are. And also, in the description of the video, I'm going to have a checklist there that you can actually download free and use your first week on the job. So grab it, take a look at it. Leave me a comment too. Let me know what your thoughts are. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, we're back in the office now. But yeah, let's dive right into it. What do we do? We've landed at a new job, first 90 days. And let's focus on the very first week. Before you open a single spreadsheet, before you review a single policy, you need to ask yourself one question. If something was to go wrong today, are the people that I work with protected? Start with your emergency egress routes. Walk the facility. Are exits blocked? Do doors open properly? Make sure that they're not locked. Are exit signs visible and illuminated? And not just one, not just a sample, but all of them. Don't assume anything. Verify it. Then check your fire suppression system or fire protection system. Are fire extinguishers accessible and inspected regularly? Are sprinkler heads clear of any obstructions? Are alarm pull stations easy to reach? This isn't an audit by no means. This is an immediate risk control. Because if something happens on your watch in week one, these are the systems that's going to matter most, right? So next, you want to understand where your site stands at right now. Not from last year, not from your predecessor, but you're the new person on the job. Where does it stand right now? Focus on current regulation expectations, especially those areas that's getting a lot of increased attention, right now. Areas like heat stress and indoor air quality. And as the months get warmer, these are going to matter even more. Start by reviewing your written programs. Are they updated? Do they reflect our current standards? Then go one step further. Are employees actually following these at the same time? Something to think about, because there's always a gap between what's written and what's actually taking place. That's where the rubber really meets the road. what is written is one thing, but are we really meeting that? Do our employees, are they following that? That's what we want to find out. So your goal is to identify where we are exposed, where you're exposed at right now. That's how you prioritize effectively instead of reacting constantly. Okay? Let me say that again. That's how you prioritize effectively instead of reacting constantly. Okay? So next, I'm going to say this: get out of the office. Section 3 on what my notes here that I have. Get out of the office. This is where a lot of new safety coordinators fail at. They want to take up residence in the office and not get out. You need to get out of the office. Don't stay there. Get out on the floor immediately. Introduce yourself to the employees. Look at what actually work is being done out there. And while you're out there, start observing patterns. Where's the high traffic areas? Where do the near misses happen? Where are people rushing or cutting corners? This does really two critical things. It builds trust with your workforce, the employees that you're working with every day, and it gives you real world insight no report will ever give you. Do you catch that? It gives you real world insight that no report is going to ever give you. But so you have to get out of the office. Your credibility doesn't come from policies. It comes from presence. Now let me repeat that again. Make sure you write that down. Your credibility doesn't come from policies. It comes from presence, being there. So get out of the office. Next, let's talk about the baseline audit. Now that you've looked at immediate risk and real world conditions in your workforce, it's time to understand really what you've inherited from your predecessors. Start a rapid baseline audit. Review key documents like OSHA logs, training records, inspection logs, permits, written safety programs. And you're not doing a deep dive just yet. You're scanning for red flags. So I would suggest put you a red flag, or paint you a red flag, or draw you a red flag, cut out a red flag, and put it on your doors, and to remind you this is what you're doing right now, is you're looking for those red flags. Things like expired certifications, missing documentation, incomplete records, programs that exist only on paper. And when I say that, that means they're existing on paper. Here they are, but are they actually being done? That's a huge red flag. And ask yourself, then, if OSHA showed up today, where are we vulnerable? Where are we most likely to be hit? That answer becomes your starting point. Okay? Next, if you focus on these 4 things in your first week: immediate life safety checks, understanding current OSHA expectations, building a presence on the floor, and establishing your baseline, you go from being overwhelmed to in control of what's taking place. Not because you're there to fix everything, but because you understand what actually matters. Okay? So, if you found this to be helpful, I'd recommend watching that video that I put out, Who is the Safety Coordinator? It pairs perfectly really with this one that we're talking about now. And if you're stepping into that role right now as that new safety coordinator, I'll get it out in a second, drop me a comment. I'd like to hear from you and the challenges that you're facing. I'd love to talk to you about some of these challenges. And don't forget, hit that like, subscribe, and remember, safety is first and coffee is second. And we can do this together. So just let me know, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear what you are facing right now, some of those challenges, if you will. And we will catch you on the next one. Take care. God bless. Okay, here it is. You landed that job. Congratulations. And you finished that very first week of hard work. But then it happens. You walk into the production floor to address a hazard that you recently found, and a veteran employee looks at you right in the eye, and he says, "I've been doing this for 30 years, and I'm still here. Why should I listen to you?" If that don't give you a pit in your stomach, hey, don't worry. It's the number one challenge every new safety coordinator faces on the job. Today, we're going to talk about how to turn that resistance into a partnership. Let's get back in the office and let's get this thing started. Welcome back to Joko's Safety Solutions, where safety is first and coffee is always second. Hi, I'm Tim. You know, in our last video, we covered the immediate survival steps for that very first week on the job. And again, congratulations for landing the position. But as we move into your very first month, your focus really shifts from that surviving, if you will, to building a solid safety culture in the workplace. The hardest part isn't those OSHA regulations. Actually, it's the people. Today, we're diving into how to win over the skeptics, where talking about presence over policies is a whole new level. The biggest mistake that a new safety coordinator can make is walking in on the production floor or through the warehouse with a clipboard in his hand and with a long list of violations on day one. That is huge. To a veteran who has been doing the job since probably before you were born, that looks like really disrespect to that person. Instead, try the listen first strategy. When you see someone doing a task, even if there is let's just say a minor issue with it, don't start with a correction. Start with a question. Say something like, "Hey, I'm new here, and I really want to better understand, the workflow and what is going on. Can you show me how to handle this process?" By asking them to teach you, you're acknowledging their expertise. You're building a bridge between you and that person. Once they feel respected, they are 10 times more likely to listen to you when you eventually suggest some sort of, safety improvement for the job. So listen first. Ask the questions. Never walk in with a clipboard suggesting, "Let's make a change right now." Now, here's a tip that is simple, but it is absolute a game changer. Okay? Learn the names of the people you are working with. Okay? When you do the listen first walkthrough, ask for their name and remember it. Write it down if you have to, because when you meet them for the second time and you look them in the eye and you say, "Good morning, Mike," or "How's it going, Sarah?" the entire energy changes. You aren't just the safety guy anymore. You're a colleague who cares enough to remember who they are. You cannot build a safety culture with strangers. You build a solid safety culture with the people you know.
You know, you don't have to fight this battle alone. In every crew or group of people working together, there are safety champions. These are the long-term employees who actually do value safety, but maybe haven't really had a voice. Identify them in your first month. Who do others go to for advice? Who is the veteran who always wears their PPE? Grab a cup of coffee together, sit down for a little bit, and ask them what they would change in the workplace, if anything. When the skeptics see that the people they respect working with you, the resistance itself actually starts to just melt away. The next thing is we have to move away, if you will, from because OSHA says so. That's the fastest way to get turned down for anything. Instead, connect to their why. When you have to enforce a rule with a resistant or let's say a skeptic employee, either way, make it personal. Look, I'm not here to be the police. I'm here because I saw some pictures on your toolbox of your grandkids and your family, and my only job here is to make sure that you get to go home and see them tonight. That's what I'm here for. Shift the narrative from compliance to protection. You aren't protecting the company from a fine. You're protecting the person from an injury. So in conclusion, I just want to say this. Winning over veterans takes time. But if you lead with respect, learn their names, and keep a focus on the why, hey, you will build a long-lasting safety culture in your workplace. I want to hear from you. What's the toughest line you've heard from a veteran employee? Let's help each other out on this one. Drop a line in the comments and let me know, what have you heard? And also, if you're preparing for an interview, check out our first 90 days on our playlist. Subscribe to Joco Safety Solutions, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, ring that bell if you will, so you will be notified, of our next video that comes out. And always remember, safety first and coffee second. So, until next time, you guys stay safe out there. We'll catch you on the flip side.